in the session, we have started the first law of thermodynamics. So, second law of thermodynamics. In that, we have seen the Kelvin statement. Okay, then we have shown that both statements are same. So, all that part we have covered in the last lecture. Yeah.
Sir, your voice is not perfect.
So, in this lecture, what we do is, okay. So, in this lecture, we'll be.
So your voice is breaking, sir.
Starting with the Carnot cycle, right? Lecture will be starting with the Carnot cycle. Audible to everyone?
So आपकी वॉइस ब्रेक हो रही है.
Yes. Am I audible to everyone?
सर नहीं आ रही आपकी आवाज.
No, sir. Actually, your voice is breaking.
Yeah. Is that okay now? Yeah. Now is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So see, in the last lecture, we have started with the second law of thermodynamics. Now we will see, okay, what do you understand by Carnot cycle? Okay, so this Carnot cycle, this cycle, it is also known as reversible cycle. Carnot cycle, this is also known as reversible cycle. Okay, because all the processes which occurs in the Carnot cycle, they are reversible. Okay, that's why this is called as Carnot cycle, or it is also known as reversible cycle. Okay, so we will start, okay, with the PV diagram. Okay, let us start with the PV diagram. Okay, so let us plot the process. Okay, this is pressure scale. Okay, this is volume scale. Okay, so we'll plot the processes, okay, which belongs to the Carnot cycle. Okay, so let us plot those processes. Okay, I will just simply plot those processes here on the Carnot cycle. Okay, you can see here. Okay, all of you see. Okay, see, let us start with okay, one by one. Okay, I will call this as point number
Voice
one.
break हो रही है sir.
Point number is 2. This point number 4. Do my voice is clearly audible?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just check. Am I audible to everyone? Am I clearly audible now? Yes.
Yes sir.
Am I clearly audible now?
Yes sir.
Am I clearly audible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, let us start with the PV diagram for the Carnot cycle. Okay. So you can see, okay, I have just plotted the point number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So these are point number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, what is that Carnot cycle? Okay. Let us see the process 1, 2, 2. Okay. We'll start with the process 1, 2, 2. See, this process 1, 2, 2. Okay. So this process 1, 2, 2. Okay. It is called as, okay, I will just write down here, process 1, 2, 2. It is called as isothermal expansion. See, try to understand. This is called as isothermal expansion. Process 1, 2, 2. It is called as isothermal expansion. So what happens during 1, 2, 2? Okay. If you measure the temperature at any point of this line, it is constant. Okay. So you will get the value of T1 is equal to T2, and let us call that as a maximum temperature. Okay. So at any point of this line, the temperature is constant. Okay, that's why it is called as the isothermal process. Okay, and what happens during 1 to 2 is, during 1 to 2, pressure decreases and volume increases. Right, during 1 to 2, what happens? Pressure decreases, volume increases. That's why it is called as expansion. Okay, so 1 to 2, it is done at a constant temperature. That's why it's isothermal. During 1 to 2, what happens? Pressure decreases, volume increases. It is called as expansion. Okay. Now what we are doing during 1 to 2 is we are going to supply. Okay, you can see here during process 1 to 2, heat is supplied. Okay, how much heat is supplied? QS amount of heat is supplied. Okay, so this is also known as isothermal expansion. Okay, or it is also known as heat addition. Okay, isothermal heat addition or heat addition. Okay, this is also known as heat addition. Okay, so see, during 1 to 2, what we are doing, we are basically adding the heat. Okay, okay, by keeping the temperature constant, we are adding the heat. The temperature is constant, it is called as isothermal, right? And what happens during 1 to 2, we are adding the heat. Okay, that's why it is called as heat addition. Okay, now let us go to the next process. Okay, 2 to 3. Okay, see this 2 to 3, you can see here. See, this is a process 2 to 3. Okay, see during 2 to 3, as you can see during 2 to 3, what happens? Okay, if you measure the entropy at any point on this line, okay, it is same. Okay, if you measure the entropy at any point, okay, on this line is same. Okay, on this line. Okay, so see, if you measure S2, it is equal to S3. I'll just write down again. See, on this line, at any point on this line, the entropy is constant. That is S2 is equal to S3. Okay, so this process 2 to 3, okay, it is said to be acentropic, or this is also known as adiabatic. Okay, so 2 to 3 is adiabatic. Okay, this is also known as isentropic, adiabatic or isentropic. Okay, why it is adiabatic or isentropic? Because during 2 to 3, entropy is constant. That's why it's adiabatic or isentropic. Okay, but what happens during 2 to 3 is, okay, pressure decreases, volume increases. Okay, so this is also known as expansion. This is also known as expansion. Okay, now see, whenever the process is adiabatic, okay, what is the law governs that process? For this process, okay, that is for 2 to 3, what is the law? PV raised to power gamma is equal to C, because it's adiabatic. So law which governs the process 2 to 3 is PV raised to power gamma is equal to C. Okay, now let us move to the next process, 3 to 4. Okay, so when you look at 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, okay, they are exactly reverse processes, right? They are exactly reverse processes. Okay, so see, I will just show these processes here. So this 3 to 4, it's exactly the reverse of 1 to 2. Okay, exactly the reverse of process 1 to 2. So see, 1 to 2, it was isothermal. Similarly, 3 to 4, it's again isothermal. Okay, so I'll just write down T3 is equal to T4. At any point of this line, temperature is constant. Okay, that is T3 is equal to T4, and we will call that temperature as a minimum temperature. Okay, so at any point on this line, temperature is constant. Okay, that's why this process 3 to 4, it is known as isothermal. This is known as isothermal, right? This process is known as isothermal. Okay, and what happens during 3 to 4 is, okay, volume decreases and pressure increases. Okay, so such process it is called as compression. Okay, this is called as compression. That's why it's called as compression. So it's a isothermal compression. This was isothermal expansion. This was isothermal compression, right? But see, during 3 to 4, what happens? Okay, see, during 1 to 2, heat is supplied. During 3 to 4, heat is rejected. Okay, so QR amount of heat is rejected. So this is called as heat rejection. This is called as heat rejection. I repeat, it is called as isothermal expansion or heat addition. Okay, and this 3 to 4, it is called as isothermal compression or heat rejection, right? Now let us move. Okay, let us move to the process 4 to 1. See, during 4 to 1, what happens? It's exactly the reverse of 2 to 3. Okay, 2 to 3, okay, it is going in downward direction. Okay, 4 to 1, okay, it will go in upward direction. Okay, now see, you can see this process. Okay, this 2 to 3 was adiabatic. Okay, that means during this point 4 to 1, entropy was constant. That is S1 is equal to S4. See, at any point this line, entropy is constant. That is S1 is equal to S4. Okay, so that's why this process 4 to 1, it's called as isentropic or adiabatic. I will just write down first adiabatic. This is called as adiabatic, or this is also known as isentropic. Adiabatic or isentropic, because 4:1 entropy is constant, and when entropy is constant, okay, what is the law which governs the process? The law which governs the process is this: P raised to power gamma is equal to C, right? Okay, now during 4:1, what happens? Pressure increases, volume decreases. So such process, it is called as compression. Such process, it is called as compression. Okay. So when you see this process, all of you try to understand. See, 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. See, 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, both processes are isothermal. 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, they are isothermal processes. Okay, they are isothermal processes. But one is heat addition, second is heat rejection. Okay. Now talk about 2 to 3 and 4 to 1. 2 to 3 and 4 to 1, both are adiabatic. Both processes are adiabatic. But one is expansion and second is compression. One is expansion and second is compression. Is that okay with this diagram? Yeah. Is that okay? Let me know. Is that okay with this one?
Yes, one.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is that clear?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, you can ask. Not a problem.
Sir, the PV relation for adiabatic isentropic expansion is PV raised to gamma is equal to C. So for
Yes.
isothermal, does it have any relation? PV?
Okay. Just a minute. Can you repeat? Increase? Okay. Can you repeat the question again? Yeah.
So what is the relation of PV for isothermal when it is isothermal?
Okay. That you want. See, what is the relation for the isothermal? Okay, can you tell me? See, I was about to write down that relation. Okay, but I
PV
found
is
that you
equal to
might
C.
get confused. See, PV is equal to C, that's all. Yes. What is the relation? If you want, I will just write down here also. For isothermal, okay, if you want, I will just write down here. This is the isothermal. Okay, this is again isothermal, right? Both processes are isothermal. Okay, what is the relation for isothermal? PV is equal to C. That's all. PV is equal to C. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
See, for isothermal, PV is equal to C. For adiabatic, it is PV raised to power gamma is equal to C. For polytropic, it is PV raised to power N is equal to C. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us start, okay, with the efficiency of the cycle. See, why we are saying the cycle is we are supposed to calculate the efficiency of the cycle, right? So let us calculate that. Okay, how to calculate efficiency? See, how to calculate efficiency? Efficiency is given by, okay, what is the formula for calculating efficiency? Okay, what is the output you got upon what input, okay, you are provided. So I'll just write down here efficiency. Okay, it's the ratio of, okay, net work done upon heat supply, right? Efficiency is the ratio of, okay, net work done upon heat supply. See, this is the output, this is the input, right? Now see, so I'll just write down efficiency is equal to, now see, when you see this cycle, it's a cycle, right? Whenever it's a cycle, okay, summation of work transfer is equal to summation of heat transfer, right? So summation of work transfer is equal to summation of heat transfer because it's a cycle, right? That is what the first law of thermodynamics says. For a system executes a cyclic process, okay, summation of heat transfer is equal to summation of work transfer. That's why I replace work transfer by heat transfer. Okay, upon heat supplied we will call it as QS. Heat supplied we will call it as QS, right? So now let us calculate what is net heat. What is net heat? It's the addition of heat supplied plus heat rejected, right? Is that okay or not? What is net heat? Net heat is the addition of heat supplied plus heat rejected upon heat supplied, right? See, what do you understand by net heat? How much heat is supplied and how much heat is rejected, right? So see, all of you can see heat is supplied during which process? During 1 to 2. So I'll just write down Q1 to 2 because during process 1 to 2 heat is supplied, plus during which process heat is rejected? During 3 to 4. So I'll just write down Q3 to 4, right? Upon heat supplied. Heat is supplied again during process 1 to 2. So it is 1 to 2. Is that okay with this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, we are supposed to calculate these values. Okay, we should calculate Q1 to 2. We should calculate Q3 to 4. Okay. So let us calculate Q122. Now how to calculate Q122? See, which is the process 1 to 2? What process 1 to 2? It's an isothermal process. See, we are supposed to calculate heat transfer during 1 to 2. So 1 to 2, it's an isothermal process. So in case of an isothermal process, okay, work transfer is equal to, how to calculate heat transfer? Heat transfer is equal to work transfer. See, we have solved a problem based on it. You're supposed to remember it. See, if you want, I will just place. Okay, you can see here, we are in an isothermal process. So in isothermal process, you can see this is the isothermal process. So in isothermal process, how to calculate heat transfer? Heat transfer is equal to work transfer. Can you see? For isothermal process, heat transfer is equal to work transfer. Then what is work transfer? Okay, this is a work transfer, right? C into log of V2 by V1, right? C into log of V2 by V1. Okay, so let us put that. So see, all of you, see, you might have seen this thing. Okay, now what is C? You can see. See, for isothermal process, heat transfer is equal to work transfer. Now what is work transfer? You can see this is a work transfer. So how to write down the formula for work transfer? P1 V1 log of V2 by V1. Okay. Otherwise, you can also write down as MRT1 into log of V2 by V1. See, instead of C, you can put P1 V1, P2 V2, MRT1, MRT2. Any value you can put for C. Instead of V2 by V1, we can put P1 by V2. Okay. So let us take any combination. Okay. So heat transfer during 1 to 2. Okay, I'll just write down. It is MR T1 into, okay, ln of V2 by V1. Right? You can see MR in T1 into ln of V2 by V1. Is that okay? Just let me know. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So how I should write down? I should write down this as MR. Now what is T1? You can see T1 is equal to T2. See, T1 is equal to T2. Okay, and that is a maximum temperature. Now you might have faced, why sir this temperature is maximum? See, during process 1 to 2, what we are doing? We are adding the heat. See, we are adding the heat. So whenever you add the heat, what happens? Temperature increases. Okay, so what you will get? You will get the temperature at the point number 2. It is always greater than the temperature at point number 1, because 1 to 2, it's a heat addition. Okay, so we are adding the heat during process 1 to 2. So obviously we will get the temperature at the point 2, which is greater than the temperature at point number 1. Okay, so but thing is like that, both T1 and T2, they are the same, and that is the reason why we are calling that those temperature as a maximum temperature. Okay, so it is MRT max into ln of V2 by V1, right? V2 by V1. So let us call, see, let us call this as equation 1. Let us call this as equation number 2. Okay. Now calculate Q3 to 4. How to calculate heat transfer during 3 to 4? See, 3 to 4, it's again 3 to 4. It's again isothermal process. You can see 3 to 4. It's isothermal process. Okay. So again in isothermal process, heat transfer is equal to work transfer. Right? Heat transfer is equal to work transfer. How to get that? Okay, I will just write down again MRT3. You can see here how I taken MRT1. So here I will take MRT3. MRT3 into ln of final volume by initial volume, right? So it is V4 by V3. See, initial condition MRT3 into ln of final volume by initial volume. Okay, so I'll just write down this as MR. Okay, see, you can see T3 and T4, they are same. Okay, and that we are calling as a minimum temperature, right? So that is a minimum temperature, T minimum into ln of V2 by V1. Right, now see, you might find why this is a minimum. Okay, see, during 3 to 4 we are rejecting the heat. Okay, during process 3 to 4 we are rejecting the heat. So what happens? Temperature at point number 4 we will always get less as compared to temperature at point number 3, because 3 to 4 it is a heat rejection. But what we are doing here is, okay, we are rejecting the heat by keeping temperature constant. Okay, so when you compare this T3 and T4 with respect to T1 and T2, obviously T3 and T4 will be found, okay, will find less as compared to T1 and T2, right? So T1 and T2, they are the maximum. T3 and T4, they are the minimum, right? So, okay, so see, this is in terms of, sorry, this is V4 by V3, right? This is V4 by, this is V4 by, right? So can I write down, okay, see, V4 by V3. So I will just write down this in terms of other form. see, if I need to write down this in the form of V3 by V4, okay, I will just write down this in the form of V3 by V4. So I'll just write down minus MR T minimum into ln of V3 by V4. V3 by V4. Is that okay? Yes. I've just reversed. Okay. This V3 I bring it into the numerator. Okay. So that is the reason why I need to introduce minus sign. Is that clear? Yes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
now we have those values. Okay. Now we have those values. Now let us put those values here. Okay. Let us put these values here in the formula of efficiency. So efficiency is given by Q122. See, this is the value. Okay. MR T max ln of V2 by V1. This is Q122 plus Q324. See, this is the value. So minus MR T minimum ln of V4 by V3. Okay. Upon Q122. Okay. Again, the same value. MR T maximum ln of V2 by V1. Okay. So when you simplify, you find that what efficiency will get? Efficiency will get equal to, see, this by this is 1. Okay. So we'll get 1 minus, see, MR get cancelled. What is remaining? It's T mean by T max. Okay. You can see what is remaining. It's T mean by T max. Okay. And this term in the numerator. Okay. That is ln of V4 by V3 upon ln of V2 by V1 on ln of V2 by V1, right? So this is the formula for efficiency we get. So I'll just call this as equation number 4. Okay, so this is equation number 3. This was equation number 3, and this is equation number 4. Okay, now see here. Okay, again I need to simplify this equation because we have this expression for the efficiency in the form of temperature and the volumes.
Sir.
Okay, now we need to use, yeah.
V3 by V4 होगा ना सर वो Q3 minus Q4.
Yeah. See. Okay. So see, this is V3 by V4. Right? This is V3. Yeah. Okay. See here, this is the value which I need to write. Exactly. Yeah. See, this is V3 by V4. Right. See here, I have written correct value. Okay. This is V3 by V4. This is V3 by V4. Is that okay? Yes. Now is it okay? Yes. Let me know.
Yes sir.
Okay, now see, let us talk about the process, okay, 2 to 3. Let us talk about the process 2 to 3. So when you see the process 2 to 3, see process 2 to 3, it's an adiabatic process. 2 to 3 is an adiabatic process, okay. So whenever we have adiabatic process 2 to 3, we can write down the relationship between temperature, pressure and volume as, okay, T3 by T2 is given by, P3 by P2 raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma is given by okay, V2 by V3 raised to power gamma minus 1. You can see V2 by V3 raised to power gamma. You can see final temperature by initial temperature, final pressure by initial pressure is equal to initial volume by final volume, right? So this is the expression which we can write down for adiabatic process, okay, because 2 to 3 is adiabatic. That is the reason why we are writing this expression in terms of temperature, pressure and volume, right? Now what I will do, okay, I'll just equate these two. Okay, I'll just equate these two. Okay, so let us see what we are getting. Okay, so say if I equate this, okay, can I write down the value for V2 by V3 as, I'll just write down the value for V2 by V3. You can see what value of V2 by V3 I can write down. V2 by V3 is given by, see, V2 by V3 is given by T3 by T2. Okay, T3 by T2. See, V2 by V3 is given by T3 by T2 raised to power 1 by gamma minus 2. Is that okay? Raised to power 1 by gamma minus 2. Okay. So I'll just write down V2 by V3 is equal to V2 by V3. Now see T3, you can see T3 is a minimum temperature, right? T3 is a minimum temperature. Upon T2 is the maximum temperature. T2 is a maximum. T2 is a maximum upon, okay, raised to power 1 upon gamma minus 2. Okay, so let me call this as equation number 5. This is the equation number 5. See, these are written for process 2 to 3. Okay. Now let us write down the same expression for 4 to 1. See, 4 to 1. 4 to 1 is again an adiabatic process. You can see 4 to 1 is an adiabatic process. Okay. So I'll just write down again final temperature by initial temperature. See how I'm writing. Final temperature by initial temperature is equal to final pressure by initial pressure raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma is equal to initial volume by final volume raised to power gamma minus 1. Just here all of final by initial by final, right? Okay, so same like what we have done here. Okay, let us also equate these two. Okay, let us equate these two. So when we equate these two, okay, let us try to get the value of V4 by V1. Okay, V4 by V. Let us check what value of V4 by V1 will be. V4 by V1 is given by, okay, T1 by T4, T1 by T4 raised to power 1 by gamma minus 1, raised to power 1 by gamma minus 1, right? So this is the value of V4 by V1, right? Now, so let us see here. So V4 by V1 is given by, what is T1? You can see T1 is the maximum temperature. Okay. What is T4? T4 is a minimum temperature. You can see minimum temperature raised to power 1 by gamma minus 1. Raised to power 1 by gamma minus 1. Now see all of you. Just see this equation. This is in the form of T min by T max. Okay. This is in the form of T max by T min. Okay. So let us take the reciprocal of this one. Okay. So let us see. So what we'll get? We'll get V1 by V4. Okay. Just take a reciprocal is equal to T min by T max. T min by T max raised to power 1 by gamma minus 1. Raised to power 1 by gamma minus 1. Right? So let us call this as equation number 6. This is equation number 6. Okay. Now when you see equation number 5 and 6, okay, when you equate these two, okay, equating, I'll just write down, equating equation 5 and 6. Let us equate 5 and 6. So what we'll get? See, the right hand sides are equal. Okay, we can equate the left hand sides. Okay, so V2 by V3, V2 by V3, you can see V2 by V3, okay, it's the left hand side, okay, is equal to this left hand side, that is V1 by V4 is equal to V1 by V4, right? So see, from this we'll just try to rearrange it. Okay, so what we'll get V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4. We'll get V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4. Let us call this as some more equation number 7. Okay, now we have equation number 7. Okay, now see, when you see this equation, okay, all of you see this equation, what we are getting? We are getting V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4. See, these two terms are one and same, right? V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4. So these two terms are one and same. So what happens? They will get cancelled. Okay, so I'll just write down, I'll just mention here, okay, putting equation 7 in equation 4. Let us put that equation 7 in equation number 4. So what is the formula for efficiency we'll get? We'll get efficiency is equal to 1 minus T min by T max. Is that okay? Yes or no? Yes or no? Let me know. Okay, see, this is the formula we got. The reason why, okay, we concluded that V3 by V4 is equal to V2 by V1. See, you can see here, V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4. So this get cancelled. What is the meaning? 1 minus T min by T max, right? So see, all of you, this is the formula for efficiency of Carnot. Okay, you can see this is the formula for what? Efficiency of Carnot cycle. Okay, so see, you can see efficiency of Carnot cycle will only depends upon the minimum temperature and maximum temperature, right? Efficiency of Carnot cycle only depends upon minimum and maximum temperature. Okay, it does not depends upon, okay, amount of heat transfer and amount of work transfer. No, okay, it only depends upon what minimum, okay, it only depends upon the temperature limits of the cycle. Okay, what minimum temperature you have and what maximum temperature. Is that okay? Yes, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is all about what? This is all about the Carnot cycle. Okay, we have seen the Carnot cycle. So remember, Carnot cycle consists of 4 processes. Out of 4 processes, 2 are isothermal. See, out of 4 processes, 2 are isothermal, and out of that 2 isothermal processes, one is heat addition and second is heat rejection. Okay. Now rest of the 2 processes are adiabatic. Okay, you can see 2 to 3 and 4 to 1. These are adiabatic. And out of these 2
अरे
adiabatic,
क्या हाथ लगा रहे बैठ रहे हो यार, क्या हो गया वो?
one is expansion and second is compression. One is expansion and second is compression. Okay, so is that okay with the Carnot cycle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see all of you. Now very important term. Okay, what you can understand. Okay, is the difference between what is called as ordinary engine and Carnot engine. Okay, now try to understand. Now I will start with first. Okay, what is called as ordinary heat engine. Ordinary heat engine. Try to understand. This is a very important concept. What is called as ordinary heat engine? Ordinary, it means simple. It's not Carnot. Ordinary heat engine, it means it's a simple heat engine, which is not Carnot engine. Okay. Now let us start with that. Okay. Now all of you see here. I will just draw a simple diagram for that one. Okay. So see, consider this engine. Okay. Consider this engine E. Consider this engine E, which operates between 2 reservoirs. See, any engine, it has to be operate between 2 reservoirs, okay, which are maintained at a temperature T1 and T2. This is the engine which operates between T1 and T2, okay, and temperature T1 is greater than T2, okay. So what happens? The engine will it will receive the heat from high temperature reservoir, and it will reject the heat to low temperature reservoir, and it will produce a power W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. See, this is the engine. Naturally, heat flows from high temperature to low temperature. So heat will flow from T1 to T2. So what we have an engine that will receive the heat from high temperature reservoir. Some part of the heat receives get converted into work, and some parts get rejected. So out of Q1, W will be get converted into work, and Q2 is rejected. Out of Q1, W gets converted into work, and Q2 gets rejected. Okay, so what work is produced? Work produced, it is basically the difference between Q1 and Q2. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? Yes, let me know. Is that okay? Okay, now see, my simple question. How to calculate the efficiency of this engine? How shall we calculate the efficiency of this engine? Efficiency of engine is given by, how to calculate? Work done upon heat supplied. Okay. So what work we develop, it is equal to Q1 minus Q2 upon what heat it supplied, it is Q1. Okay. So what answer we'll get? We'll get 1 minus Q2 by Q1. See, this is the formula for efficiency of ordinary engine. Okay. This is the formula for ordinary or normal heat engine. I repeat, this is the formula for efficiency of ordinary heat engine. Simple. 1 minus Q2 by Q1. Okay. Now let us work out, okay, how to calculate the efficiency of Carnot heat engine. Now see what I'm writing. I'm now writing as Carnot heat engine. Okay, Carnot heat engine. See, this is a very important term. See, this was ordinary. I just write down here. This is ordinary heat engine. This is the ordinary heat engine. Right? Now we are interested in Carnot heat engine. Okay, now see, let us see what is that. Okay. So now let us consider, okay, this is the engine, okay, which operates between 2 reservoirs, one at a temperature T1, second at a temperature T2. Obviously, T1 is greater than T2, right? Now see, this engine, it receives Q1 amount of heat, okay, it rejects Q2 amount of heat, and it produces W is equal to Q1 minus Q2 amount of work. Okay, so diagram is entire same. Okay, but I will call this as Carnot. Okay, now you try to understand what is the meaning of Carnot. Carnot, it is also known as reversible. Meaning of Carnot, it is also known as reversible. So either you call it as Carnot heat engine or you call it as reversible heat engine. Reversible. Try to understand. Reversible. I am not calling it as reversed. I am not calling it as a reversed. It's a reversible. Okay. So now see what formula for efficiency of engine you got. You can see efficiency of ordinary engine. What is that? 1 minus Q2 by Q1. Okay. So now what formula you should get? for efficiency of Carnot engine. Okay, so see, efficiency of Carnot engine is given by, okay, 1 minus, see, just now we are seeing what we are seeing just, okay, efficiency of Carnot cycle only depends upon what minimum
Q2 by
temperature you
Q1.
have
1 minus
and
Q2
maximum
by Q.
right? So I'll just write down here minimum temperature is T2, okay, maximum temperature is T1, okay. So T mean by T max. So that is the reason why I'm taking 1 minus T2 by T1. See, all of you see T1 and T2, these are the temperatures of the reservoir. T1 is greater than T2, okay. So obviously T2 is the minimum temperature. So T2 is a minimum upon T1 is a maximum. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay or not?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Try to understand. See, if it's an ordinary heat engine, simply it's 1 minus heat rejected upon heat supply. That's all. And but if it's a Carnot heat engine, okay, Carnot heat engine, it is also known as reversible heat engine. The formula is 1 minus minimum temperature upon maximum. That's all. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay with this one?
Yes.
Okay. Now let us have one more concept. Okay. What is called as, okay, what is called as Carnot. See, now what I'm writing is, you can see here. All of you see. Now this is very important. As like ordinary heat engine, we can also have ordinary reversed heat engine. See, this is very important. Reversed. See, reversed. There is a difference between reversed and reversible. Okay. Whenever it's a reversible, it's a Carnot. And whenever it's a reversed, means heat will flow in a reverse direction. Okay. So it is reversed heat engine. Okay. Ordinary or reversed heat engine. Okay. It's a ordinary or reversed heat. Okay. Ordinary reversed heating. Sorry, it's an ordinary reversed heating. Okay. So let us now draw the diagram. Okay. So let us consider these two reservoirs, okay, which are maintained at a temperature T1 and T2. Okay. So now see, as indicates, it's a reversed heat engine. Reversed. Okay. So I will write down the reversed sign of E. Okay. So this is reversed. Okay. It's a reversed. What do you understand by reversed? Okay. Heat will flow from lower temperature to high temperature. See, always we have T1 greater than T2. This is our case. So we want the heat to flow in a reverse direction. That means heat should flow from lower temperature reservoir to high temperature reservoir. Okay. So see, if you want this reverse heat engine to extract the heat from low temperature reservoir, okay. So let's say this reverse heat engine, it extracts Q2 amount of heat from the reservoir which is at a temperature T2 only and only when you supply some amount of work. So when you supply W, this reverse heat engine will extract Q2, and as a result, it will discharge or it will reject Q1 amount of heat to the reservoir which is at a temperature T1. So how to calculate Q1? It's the addition of Q2 plus W. So it's addition of Q2 plus W, right? Is that okay with this diagram? See, this diagram I already told you. Yes, this diagram I already told you. Is that okay? Is that okay or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now see, what is reversed heat engine? Try to understand. What is reversed heat engine? See, all of you, ordinary reversed heat engine. Now, what is the meaning of heat engine? Heat engine is a device which converts heat into work. Heat engine is a device which converts heat into work. Now, what is reversed heat engine? It is reversed. Okay. So that means it will not convert heat into work. Okay. It will consume the work so as to extract the heat. Okay. So this reversed heat engine, it can be either a refrigerator, okay, or it can be heat pump, So it will depends upon the application. When you want heating, we want to operate as a refrigerator. Whenever it's a cooling, okay, we want it to be work as a heat pump. Okay, now let us try to understand. See, whenever it's a reverse heat engine, okay, we are not calculating the efficiency, okay, because you will always get the efficiency greater than 1. Okay, so that is the reason why we should calculate COP, that is called as coefficient of performance. Okay, so it's a ratio of desired effect, okay, upon work input. Desired effect upon work input. Okay, so now see, so I'll just write down again. COP is given by desired effect upon work input. Now what work input is given? W is given. Work input is W, right? Now try to understand. Now very important thing. Okay, now see, based on the desired effect, it will determine whether it is working as a refrigerator or heat pump. Okay, now let us talk about the COP of refrigerator. COP of refrigerator. In refrigerator, we are interested in cooling, right? For the refrigerator, what we want? We want cooling. Okay, in refrigerator, the desired effect is cooling upon W. Okay, so see, this cooling or heating will be determined by whether you are taking Q2 or Q1. Okay, so when you take it as Q2, so obviously Q2 will give you cooling. See, there are only two heats. One is Q2 and Q1. Okay, so obviously Q2, it is associated with the lower temperature reservoir, so it will give you cooling, while Q1, it is associated with the higher temperature reservoir, so it will give you heating. Okay, so I'll just write down this as Q2 by W. Okay, so I'll just write down now COP of refrigerator is given by Q2. Okay, Q2 I'll just write down as it is. Q2 I'll just write down as it is upon W. What is W here? It's Q1 minus Q2. It's Q1 minus Q2, right? So this is how we'll get COP of refrigerator. Right, now exactly reverse thing. Let us calculate the COP of heat pump. COP of heat pump. See, so what is the desired effect in heat pump? In heat pump, we want heating, right? In heat pump, we want heating. So heating upon, the desired effect is heating upon W is, okay, as it is, right? So see, if Q2 is giving cooling, so obviously Q1 will give you heating, right? So it is Q1 by W. Okay, Q1 by W. So COP of heat pump is given by Q1 I kept as it is. What is W? It's Q1 minus Q2. It's Q1 minus Q2. So is that okay? Let me know. Is that okay or not? Yes, is that okay? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now try to understand. This is all about ordinary reverse heat engine. Which is ordinary reverse heat engine? It is either refrigerator or heat pump. Okay, so this is the COP of ordinary refrigerator. This is the COP of ordinary heat pump. Simple heat pump and simple refrigerator. These are the efficiencies. Now come back to the point of, okay, COP of, see, this is very important. See, these two equations we are supposed to focus. Okay, let us see this equation. Okay, this is a COP of refrigerator. Okay, and this is a COP of heat pump. Okay, now let us refer these two equations. Now I need to calculate COP of, okay, Carnot refrigerator, or otherwise I will just write down this in a detail. Okay, Carnot. This is also known as, see, now we are going to what? Carnot. Carnot is also known as reversible. Carnot or reversible. Okay, ordinary I am replacing by Carnot or reversible. Reverse heat engine. I'll just write down reversible, reversed heat engine. Reverse heat engine. Simple. Now see, whenever it is reversed heat engine, we should understand that it is either refrigerator or heat pump. And whenever it's a Carnot, we need to understand that heat we need to replace by temperature. Okay, simple. So see, this formula I will write down as COP of, you can see COP of Carnot. I'll just write down Carnot refrigerator. See, COP of, now I am writing for Carnot refrigerator. I will replace Q by T. Okay, so I'll just get this formula as T2 upon T1 minus T2. T2 upon, see, simply I replace heat by temperature. Similarly here, okay, what is the COP of Carnot heat pump? COP of Carnot heat pump is given by T1 upon T1 minus T2. Is that okay? Simple. See, for refrigerator, lowest temperature upon highest minus lowest. For heat pump, highest temperature upon highest minus lowest. This is how you can calculate this as a Carnot. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? So simply in the formula of ordinary formula, when you put or when you replace it by temperature, it becomes a Carnot. It becomes a Carnot. Yes. Is that okay? Yeah. Let me know, all of you. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let us move to the next point. Now let us take the next point. Now see, all of you. Now we'll start with we'll start now with the Carnot theorem. Okay, let us see what is a Carnot theorem is. Okay, so Carnot theorem. Okay, what is Carnot theorem? See, Carnot theorem, it's simply okay. If you want to go in simple, what is Carnot theorem? No engine is more efficient than Carnot engine. In simple words, no engine is more efficient than the Carnot engine. Okay, I will just write on the statement of the Carnot theorem. Of all engines working between same source and sink, none has higher efficiency than Carnot engine. None has higher efficiency than Carnot engine. Okay, so if you have two engines which are operating between same source and same sink, that means if you have the two engines which are operating between same temperatures, okay, and out of those two, okay, let's say one of them is Carnot. Out of those two, let's say one of them is Carnot. Then the efficiency of that Carnot engine, it's greater than that other engine. Okay, efficiency of the Carnot engine is greater than the Carnot engine. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? Okay with the statement? Let me know. Is that okay with the statement? Yeah, let me know. Is that okay or not?
Sir, please explain again one more time.
Yeah. See what the statement says. If you have two engines which are operating between same temperatures, if you have the two engines which are operating between the same temperatures, and out of those two, if one of them is Carnot, out of those two, one of them is Carnot, then efficiency of that Carnot engine is always greater than other engine. Is that okay? Have you understood the statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us see that. Okay, Okay, this is one reservoir T1. Okay, let us see one more reservoir. This is the reservoir T2. Okay, and in between these two reservoirs, okay, let us consider one ordinary engine. See, this is the ordinary engine A, I will call. This is the ordinary engine. I'll just mention here. This is the ordinary heat engine. The ordinary heat engine. See, ordinary means it's a simple heat engine. Okay, this is the ordinary heat engine. So this ordinary heat engine, it receives Q1A amount of heat, okay, and it rejects Q2A amount of heat, okay, and it produces WA amount of work, okay. Now let us consider okay, one more, okay, let us consider one more engine. Okay, let us consider this one more engine. Okay, so this is one more engine. Let us see this. This is one more engine. Okay, I will call this as engine B. Engine B, right? And this is not ordinary engine. It's the Carnot. I'll just write down here. This is Carnot. Carnot. Carnot is also known as reversible
ये मेरे ऊपर है अभी।
अरे वैसा नहीं खुशबू ऐसे नहीं
Carnot engine
वो
it is
बराबर
also
आ
known
रही
as QLC बोलेंगे। See here all of you. So now see, this is the ordinary engine. Now this is a Carnot engine. Okay. So let us say that this Carnot engine, it receives how much heat? It receives Q1B amount of heat, and it rejects Q2B amount of heat, and it produces WB amount of heat. Is that okay? Let me know. Is that okay with the diagram? This is the
सर
ordinary.
स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रहा है सर, स्क्रीन विजिबल नहीं है।
Yes, sir.
Now is that okay?
यस सर।
Yes, sir.
Now just it was happened. Na? Now just it was happened. Na? Yes. You are not able to look at to the screen for how much time?
Sir, जब
Sir,
आपने
अभी
second
हुआ
diagram
just
Now
बनाया,
only sir, just now.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So this is the ordinary engine. This is the ordinary heat engine. This is the ordinary heat engine. Okay, which receives Q1A amount of heat and it rejects Q2A amount of heat and it produces W amount of work. Now this is a Carnot or reversible heat engine which receives Q1B amount of heat. It rejects Q2B amount of heat and it produces WB amount of work. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? I understood this one. See, one is ordinary, second is Carnot, right? Now see, we are supposed to prove that, what we are supposed to prove? We need to prove that efficiency of Carnot engine is greater than efficiency of ordinary engine. That is, efficiency of this engine B, it is greater than efficiency of engine A. Is that okay? Yes or no? Is it okay or not? We need to prove that. This is the
Yes,
this is the
sir.
Carnot engine. Yeah, this is the Carnot engine. We need to prove that this Carnot engine is more efficient as compared to this engine. Now let us see. Okay, now what I'm writing, it may create some confusion for you. Okay, now I will assume that efficiency of A is greater than efficiency of B. I already told you it will create some confusion. I will assume that, see, I want to prove that Carnot engine is more efficient than ordinary engine. But what I will assume that ordinary engine is more efficient than Carnot engine. This assumption I will make. Okay, and if this assumption is going to get false, okay, see, if with this assumption, if I'm concluding to wrong results, with this assumption, if I conclude to wrong results, that means that this assumption is wrong, and what is correct? Okay, the reverse of the assumption, that is efficiency of B is greater than efficiency of A. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? Let me know. Is that okay? See,
Yes,
I want
sir.
to prove that Carnot engine, that is B, engine B is greater than efficiency of engine B is greater than efficiency of engine A. But I am assuming exactly reverse thing. I am assuming that efficiency of A is greater than efficiency of B. And if this statement, with this assumption, if I conclude to wrong answers, or if I concluded with the wrong data, that means this assumption is wrong. Then what is right? It's exactly the reverse of this. Okay. Now see how to calculate efficiency of A. Okay. It is what? How to calculate efficiency? Efficiency of A is given by what is work done by A upon what heat is supplied, right? Upon what heat is supplied is greater than, how to calculate efficiency of B? Okay, it is work produced by B upon what heat is supplied to the B, right? Efficiency is work done by heat supplied, work done by heat supplied. This is for A, this is for B, right? Now see, we are supposed to calculate efficiency. So how to calculate efficiency? Okay, for calculating efficiency, what we'll do? Okay, we will provide same input to both the engines. Okay, that means we will provide or we will supply same amount of heat to both of the engine. Okay, so we will supply both. Okay, see, this is ordinary engine, this is Carnot heat engine. So to those two engines, we will supply same amount of heat. We will supply same amount of heat. Okay. So by supplying same amount of heat, let us calculate which is producing more power. Okay. Are you agree to this one? We are giving same input to both the engines and we are calculating which is giving more output. With the same input, okay, whichever the engine which is giving more output will be more efficient. Okay. So if you are going to provide okay same input, okay, you will find that work produced by engine A is greater than work produced by engine B. Is that okay? Yes, is that okay or not? Yes. Okay with this one? Yes. Is that okay? Let me know. Is that okay or not? Okay. So now let us see how to work out on that. Okay. Now see. Okay. Now what I will do? Okay, I'll just mark the same diagram again. You can see. Now I'll just mark the same diagram. Okay. This is temperature T1. Okay. This is temperature T2. Okay. This is temperature T2. Now see. I will just draw the same engine. Okay, this is the ordinary heat engine. EA. Okay, this is the ordinary. This is the ordinary heat engine. This is the ordinary heat engine. Okay, which takes in Q1A amount of heat. Which rejects Q2A amount of heat, and which produces WA amount of work. See, same diagram I have drawn as it. You can see same diagram I have drawn as it is. Now see what I am doing with the reversible heat engine. See now what I am doing with the reversible heat engine is I am changing the direction of heat flow. You can see. Now what I will do? Okay, I will just change its direction. Okay. So see, I will change the arrow. Okay, I will just change the direction. That means what? Initially heat was flowing from high to low. Now the heat will flow from low to high. It will flow from low to high, right? Now here Q2B was rejected. Now Q2B will be received. You can see it was initially rejecting. Now it will receive. WB was produced. Now WB will be consumed. Right? Here Q1B was received. Now Q2B will be rejected. Okay. Wherever you have device, wherever you have such device,
टीव्ही आता ना चालू करू गेला नंतर काय टीव्ही चालू रिमोट आहे मी देता अभी ये भाई अरे येतोय तो बोलची त्याचा खोपा आहे ना त्याच्या पाठी बघ पाठी अरे आम्हाला
okay. Can you see me now, all of you? Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
See, I need to spend more energy, okay, in making you arrange at a single point. That is not allowed. Now see, what I'm doing is, I'm just changing the arrows. Okay, I'm just changing the direction. Okay, now it was initially what? Carnot or reversible heat engine. Okay, now it is same. You can see, it's a Carnot or reversible. It's a Carnot or reversible. Now see, this is not only heat engine. Now it is reversed heat engine. Now it is reversed heat engine. You can see I have just added one word here. What is called as reversed? See, this is different word, reversed. After the reversible, I have added one word, that is reversed word, right? Reversed. What does it indicates? The word indicates that it will flow from low temperature to high temperature. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, direction of the arrow is changed. Okay. So that's why it is called as reversed heat engine. It's not only heat engine. Okay. It is reversed heat engine. Right. Now what we'll do? Okay. We will just combine these two diagrams. Try to understand. Now let us combine these two diagrams. Okay, so by combining these two diagrams, okay, what we'll get? Let us try to check. This is T1. Okay, this is T2. Okay, now we will plot a combined device. We want to combine these two, right? So this is combined device. Okay, this is a combined device. Okay, now see, when we combine this heat engine and reverse heat engine, let us combine it. Okay, now let us start. See here, when you combine it, what happens? This Q1A is received and this is Q1B is rejected. See, this is coming down, this is going up. But when you see, okay, when you just see here, okay, all of you might see that both are same. Q1A and Q1B, they are same. Q1A and Q1B, they are same, right? So these two are same. So one is going downward, one is going upward, but both are same. Okay. So what you will get here? Okay, you will not get anything here. So see, here it is 0. Is that okay? Here there is nothing. There is nothing. See, if you want, I will just show it by dotted line. Okay, here there is nothing. Okay, because this is going down, this is going up, both are same. So here you are getting nothing. Now see here, WA is produced, WB is consumed. See, WA arrow is going out on the outer side, so it is produced. WB arrow is coming inner side, that means it is consumed. So WA is produced, WB is consumed. Okay, but what you can see here, work produced is greater than work consumed. Dekho, 50 is produced, out of 50, 20 is consumed. Out of 50, 20 is consumed. So what is remaining? It's 30. 30 is remaining. Okay, that means that 30 is available as a power. Okay, so what we'll get here? We'll get here work is equal to work. Here we will get it as WA minus WB. See, W. So what is net work? Is the difference between what is work produced and work consumed. So it is difference between WA and WB, and obviously here WA is greater than WB. Okay, WA is greater than WB, right? Now let us work out here. Let us work out here. You can see Q2A is going down, Q2B is going upward, right? So see, Q2B is the heat received, Q2A is the heat rejected. See, this is received, this is rejected. So obviously heat rejected, okay, is greater than heat received is greater than heat rejected. So I'll just write down this as Q2B minus Q2A. See, out of these two, which will be higher? Obviously Q2B will be higher because it is received. What is about Q2A? It is rejected. So obviously this is higher as compared to this one. So I'll just write down heat received minus heat rejected. Is that okay with this diagram? Yes. Is that
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Now, what do you understand from this diagram? What do you understand from this diagram? This combined device, I'll just write down combined device. I'll just go very fastly. Combined device converts all heat receives. It converts all heat receives into work, right? It converts all heat receives into work, which is not possible. Which is not possible. Which is not possible as per Kelvin-Planck statement, right? Which is not possible as per Kelvin-Planck statement, right? See, it is impossible to convert all heat receives into work, and we are getting a device which is converting all heat receives into work, so which is not possible, right? That means we are reached to wrong conclusion, right? That means I'll just write down assumption that we have made. What assumption we have made? We have made that efficiency of A is greater than efficiency of B. So assumption that efficiency of A is greater than efficiency of B is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. Then what is correct? Hence, efficiency of B is greater than efficiency of A. See, that we want to prove. See, with this assumption, that is engine A is more efficient than engine B, we have solved. So we have got to wrong conclusion. What wrong conclusion we got? We got a device which converts all heat receives into work. That is not possible. We have reached to wrong conclusion because our assumption was wrong. Which was our assumption? Efficiency of A is greater than efficiency of B. This was a wrong assumption which we have made. Okay, then what is correct? Efficiency of B is greater than efficiency of A. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we'll do? Okay, today we'll conclude the session. Okay, and in the next session, okay, we'll be starting with the problems which are based on the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, that is basically on the refrigerator and is that okay? Yes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Now we will conclude the session and you can move to the next lecture.